So if you're like me and you have a problem with your 2021 Honda Rancher fuel supply, then you come to the right place. I scoured the YouTube trying to find a video on how to clean out the fuel filter and fuel pump, and what you'll find is on the older models there's a fuel pump underneath here, which is very easy to access. However, if you have the newer model, the fuel pump is actually inside the tank coming up from top, so you actually have to remove the seat and the shroud around it to gain access to where your fuel pump is. Before you can get to the fuel pump, you have to remove the wiring harnesses to get to these bolts. Once you get to this bolt here, you can slide this down and it gives you access to your fuel tank and your fuel pump, which is here. But before you can remove that, you have to actually pull this back. So there's actually a bolt on this side. If you come around, you'll see there's a bolt in here, right there, and two bolts in the front, which you can't see until you get up under there. But this one we've actually already completed, so we're going to go over to the one that is in pieces now, so you can see what we're doing. So again, you have to disconnect the gauges so they can slide up, and then it exposes where your fuel tank is. Now we've already moved the fuel pump. Cameron, hand me that fuel pump behind you. This is what the newer fuel pumps look like. It's kind of the same style you would get in a small car from a drop-down unit. We're actually replacing this one because it was so bad the filter on the inside couldn't be fixed. The only thing holding it in is a retaining ring, which the fuel filter goes in and you put the retaining ring on top. When you do remove the retaining ring, just use a phenolic drift. You don't want to be tapping on this with metal, especially if you have a full tank. The other problem you'll have with the fuel system is the shape of the tank. The tank actually goes from here and then drops down. So if you have water in your tank or different things, it's gonna be very hard to siphon out from that opening, just because of the shape of the bottom of the tank, and water likes to sit there. So you're actually gonna have to take the fuel pump out and siphon it all to make sure you get the tank clean. All right, that's where we're at now. We're gonna stop, put it back together, and then you'll see in the next clip. Right now we got our new fuel pump with filter, and we're just gonna install it. So you gotta make sure that you hold the plunger upwards, otherwise it'll get stuck, and then you just make sure it drops down when you get it in there. And you just gotta move it until you get it into place here. Remember to keep it in line so that you can still get the attachments on it. I'm gonna say, there we go. That's pretty simple. You grab your retaining ring, you line it in there, and again you get your rubber mallet, your phenolic drift, and you tap it tight. You got it?
Yeah.
And then to reinstall the retaining ring, again, there's no fuel in this one, so you don't have to worry about the spark. But if there was fuel in it, you would want to use a phenolic drift, a rubber mallet. But then you just tap the ring back in place until this lines up with the middle groove. And then your fuel filter or fuel pump is installed. Now you can go ahead and start to reconnect the sensors and the fuel line, and then your breather valve here.